Hey everyone. Yeah, I know it's been a while, but thought I'd kind of update you on my Berenstain Bears book collection. And just to let you guys know, hold on for a second. Sorry about that. Just gotta be a few moments. Alright, sorry about that folks. Had to go grab some things. Only about a bit. Yeah, only a minute. But anyway, just to give you guys a little bit of a fast forward kind of deal. Like anybody growing up, I've been a fan of the Berenstain Bears since I was a kid. I remember when I first got introduced to them, we had a few, if I remember correctly, and again, my mind might be a little foggy on this because it's been a long time, but I remember me and my family had some of the first time books. I remember having those, but I also remember my family would have the I Can Read books, or the Step Into Readings, the kind of like the younger books for preschoolers, if not younger. And I remember having those, and I also remember watching the original animated show on CBS back in the mid 80s, mid to late 80s, or mid to early late 80s, whatever you want to call it. And I also remember a couple of times that they would show the specials in prime time, but couldn't remember exactly when or where I first saw them. I do know I do know that I have some of the VHSs, but I'm not going to bring those out. But what I do have right here, as you can see, is a whole tote worth, 34 quart tote worth of Berenstain Bear related books and material. And up here, I have my recorded DVDs, if you will. I have the recorded DVDs that I did back when I lived in Kansas. I recorded these courtesy of my I think my Apex recorder, ILO recorder, and that was about it. And they mostly all work. Matter of fact, that's mainly what they look like. So these are mainly when I had the Apex recorder, and I think some of them at the end are the ILO ones as well. But it was basically a 6-disc deal that I did with this. And I also printed this out from my computer online. And I kind of added the little sayings right there. So that's pretty cool. And then this here recently was something I got at Walmart. I think I got this, I believe, a little before I started or a little after I started. I can't remember. But this contains basically 4 discs or 4 DVDs of Berenstain Bear episodes, 8 hours of them, if you will. And these are all the PBS series right here. And again, you have and it doesn't, the only disadvantage is they don't really say what's on there, but you can kind of get an idea. I think you can look it up and see what's on there. If you go like on Amazon or Walmart, you can find out what's on there. So yeah, I have these. And then of course I just added, if you watch the package opening video, I just added these two as well. That's pretty cool. And yeah, they get added to this massive, if you will, collection. Now, just to let anybody know, yeah, I do have a couple of the plushes. I have a small Sister Bear plush a big Brother Bear plush. Oh, it's a Papa Bear, I don't know. It's got the red t-shirt, but it's got like suspenders like Papa, so it's got to be Brother or somebody. I think it's Brother. They just gave him suspenders. I think they forgot not to give him suspenders. And I got the Mama one as well, so I'll figure. But anyway, yeah, I got a bunch of books here. A lot of first-time books, as you can pretty much see. And a lot of the, what's known as the, well, the basically first-time books. They're basically first-time books, but they're also living lights books. One of the things that they started doing, I think even before Jan passed away, and they kind of gave hints about this, and well, they basically did this in the regular first-time books as well, but one of the things they started to do, and I think Mike Berenstain may have had a little bit of influence in this, is they started to differentiate what were first-time books and what were Living Lights books. And Living Lights books are basically Christian Berenstain Bear Christian books. In other words, they have like scripture right at the beginning. Like at the beginning of this one, we have Mark 16:6. He is risen. So yeah, these are basically Christian-related books for the you know, if you're a Berenstain Bear fan. They're basically Christian-related books. You know, like this one has Matthew 6:14. So that's pretty cool. And of course, like I say, you have your regular first-time books as well. You have like the Nutcracker, which I think came out 3 years ago, two and a half years ago now. Very nice, very good companion piece. And then of course you got the big ones like this, which also comes with the audio. Although they should have had better, no offense, but they should have just let like the PBS voice actors do it. If you know what I mean. Like I said, you got some of the big books here. You got Go on a Vacation, Bedtime Story, and like I said, you got the Save Christmas. Then you've got Easter Surprise. You've got Go Back to School. You have Comic Valentine, which I do have the VHS, the animated adaptation of. You have Thanksgiving, which you also have the animated adaptation of, the Big Paw one. And of course, like I said, you get the VHS. And then, of course, we have something like this. And then, like I said, we got a bunch of first-time books here, just a bunch of them. Just a bunch of first-time books. And put that down for a second. Bunch of first-time books, which, of course, these two behind me, the newer ones, will be added to in the future. But you see, we got like Come Clean, and you know, we got Computer Trouble. You know, you got all of these here. You know, we got I just got a bunch of them. I mean, you can pretty much see. We move these here along with these, the two new ones. You know, along with these here and the two new ones. You can pretty much see that I got a lot of first-time books, a lot of them. But if you turn the side, it's almost like a flip-de-dippy, well, flip around, if you will. And we got basically a book series that I'm pretty sure a lot of people have heard of, yet they don't know about. And that is called the Big Chapter Books. Now, with the Big Chapter Books, mainly were Berenstain Bear stories targeted towards older readers. In other words, basically, you could say maybe perhaps, I'm trying to think of the age, but basically you're looking at maybe perhaps not fourth grade, but you're probably looking at more like, well, mainly fourth to seventh. Okay, let's just put it this way. You're looking at possibly fourth, fifth, and sixth grade here. That's mainly what they are. And probably seventh and eighth, if you want to really go far, maybe a little bit of ninth. But mainly you're looking at fourth to possibly seventh grade, if not eighth grade at the most. And I'll be honest with you, I was totally surprised by this when I heard about them. Because I remember, because I first got into these, I believe, when I was living in Kansas, there was a half-price bookstore or something, and I saw this book, and I think it was one of the first time, I think it was a big chapter book, and I looked at it and I'm like, well, what is this? You know, because the books I've been mainly reading were things like this, and that was about it. You know, I'd never seen a big chapter book before. So I looked it up, and I found that these were books targeted towards older readers. The stories, very similar but more complicated. And you didn't have like, what's the average Berenstain Bear book go at? You're looking at maybe 20-something pages. A book like this would go for about almost 100+ pages. A book like this goes for 100+ pages, which is pretty cool. Now, again, to me, I look at it as being targeted towards that 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. Maybe more so 5th than 4th. I mean, 4th, yeah, you could probably read about and all that. But I think when you hit like 11 years old, 10, 11 years old, maybe 11, like my nephew's going to be at the end of the year, these kind of stories are more understandable for you than anything else. And they had a whole series of books. I mean, they had a whole freaking series of books, and they introduced characters in there we didn't even, that, you know, are still around, but you don't really hear about. Like, let's see. Like, you know, here in this book, and in some other books, I think mainly, what is it? Here we go. Like here, we get introduced to Queenie's cousin, Bermuda, if you will. And it's called Bermuda Triangle. In other words, play on the Bermuda Triangle and Love Triangle. Weird, right? You think that's in a Berenstain Bears book? Yep. So is New Girl in Town, which was one of the first ones, and introduces Bonnie Brown. And introduces Bonnie Brown into the cast. And then, of course, you have things like Camp Crush. And they even give you an idea of what these are. They are page-turning event. They're basically, according to the back here, they're page-turning mysteries, fun-to-read comic adventures, boy and girl stories, action-packed sports stories. Basically, it's, you know, one of those things. And then you got things like this, and then you got stories like this, which are the Berenstain Bears at the Teen Rock Cafe. So yeah, this is a book series, and I think I have the entire series, believe it or not. Yeah, I think I do. we have the entire I have the entire series, and that was a goal of mine. As soon as I started reading these, I was like, you know what? To be honest, folks, I got hooked on this series because of one reason. It's good. Now, again, I will say this: nothing will replace the first time books. Believe it or not, nothing will replace the first time books. Nothing will, like I say, replace those. I mean, those are how I first got introduced. And again, nothing will replace those. Nothing at all. As a matter of fact, one of my first books, if it's in here somewhere, was, trying to see, I got 2 copies of a spelling bee book. I think one of them, of course, was Too Much Vacation was the first one for me. Double Dare was another. And then I think I got just about a lot of them. Like, I have No Girls Allowed. I have, let's see, what else do I have? I have some very interesting ones. If I can turn them around. Turn it around here. I mean, I got The Bad Dream, which is one of my favorites, and I think anybody else's personal favorites. As a matter of fact, when I was in like 2nd grade at Patterson Elementary in Fremont, we had a little sales thing going, a little like fundraiser drive, and it was basically just centered around books and stuff. And if you got so many sales and stuff, you got to pick out a certain amount of books. And I was, of course, like I said, a fan of the Berenstains, and I saw this and I said, I want to get it, and I did. Of course, like I said, I got a lot of them here. It's just, and then of course when you have things like, the Living Light series beginning, that's something that I think even parents could even respect, because it's like, it's like you didn't know they made Living Lights books, and they did. They actually made Living Lights books, which again, are just basically the Christian equivalent, the more religious Christian equivalent of are basically more so the Christian equivalent. And now these, here, the newest ones, will be added. And I look at it just like this. And I look at it like this, folks. You shouldn't be ashamed about being a fan of something because, some people will say, oh, it's for younger kids. The way I look at it with Berenstain Bears, they're for all ages. You could say, oh, well, it's for young kids and all that, and that's fine. And yeah, the targeted audience is young kids. Don't get me wrong about that, but I don't look at it like that at times. I look at it like they're for all ages, and you should enjoy them. That's how I look at it. They're like, hey, it's for all ages. They made them for all ages, so you should enjoy it. And that's the way I look at it. And I do recommend getting the Graduation Day book because that's a really interesting read, really good read. But yeah, I didn't want to bring them all out like I've done in the past. If you want to really check that out, type in Berenstain Bears in my search column on my channel, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, to me, I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of when it comes to being a fan of this franchise. I mean, they're getting a movie, for goodness sakes, by Walden, which is being done by, I think, Walden Media and whoever else is behind them. It's going to be basically a live-action CGI adaptation of Berenstain Bears. We just don't know what it's going to be. It's supposed to be a comedy, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully they don't really mess it up and they try to stay true to the characters, if not true to the source, as much as they can. But again, to me, you should not be ashamed about that, ashamed about being a fan of this, because, things like this are never going to leave you. And, with everything they show on television today, or everything they put into books nowadays, this is one of those rare franchises that stays true. It doesn't go in that direction. So that's all I'm going to say on my update of my Berenstain Bears collection for today, the 13th of May, 2014. Hope you guys all enjoyed it, and I will talk to you later. God bless. Take care. Comment below.